Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Louise H. Reed, and I'm thrilled that you've joined me today, where I'm going to share with you the 4 simple actions to shift your life out of neutral and live like you matter. Here are the things that you will learn today. 1, you'll rediscover you, who you are, what you want, and what makes you tick. 2, find the work-life blend that uniquely works for you. And yes, it is possible. 3, discover the self-sabotaging voice and behaviors, guilt, fear, and shame, and kick them to the curb. And finally, 4, learn the tips and strategies that will close the gap from where you are now to where you want to be. But before we start, I am just going to take my camera off. There we go. Before we start, I want to share a little bit about me. Not too many years ago, I found the love of my life. Yes, online dating does work. I have the 4 children now that I always knew I'd have. Love the blended family. I left my secure job with a pension and benefits to pursue my dream job. I'm now engaged in meaningful work, and I'm making a difference to women, one conversation at a time. The bonus? It's all from my home, providing me with the life balance I've been searching for. I'm doing work I love every day, and I'm available to my school-aged boys for the little things. I see them off to school in the morning and welcome them home at the end of each school day. Really simple pleasures. What allows me to enjoy this to its fullest is that I've got the clarity, confidence, and courage. And I had the clarity, confidence, and courage to leave an unhappy marriage and find my soulmate. And this is coming from someone who never believed in soulmates before I met this man. But it wasn't always like this. My soul's light was almost extinguished before I made the changes that needed to be made. I'll take you on a little story. Perhaps you can relate to some of these. My journey started 15 years ago when I was newly pregnant and married. I decided this was a time in my life for change, like becoming a parent wasn't enough. I was going to listen to my gut, shift careers, and do something that I was passionate about, something more aligned with my values, and I knew it had to be something that involved helping women. The truth is that never came to be, not at that time anyway, and little did I know it was only the beginning of my journey. Shortly after baby number 2 and number 3 came along, yes, twins, I continued on my trial and error journey of getting unstuck to find the freedom, the balance, and joy I was longing for. I continued juggling work, business travel, study, and family, not to mention all the other stresses of life like financial struggles, divorce, major illnesses, industry downturns, and changing jobs. All the while, I kept learning, growing, adding to my toolkit in hopes of finally being able to get it right and rid myself of the knot in my stomach that was telling me I was missing something. Fast forward a few years, now a mom to 3 boys, I was working full-time as a manager in human resources and was a wife to a man who later became my ex. From the outside, I had it all. I had the picture-perfect life that others envied. An amazing job, a husband and wonderful children, a supportive family, my health, house, and financial stability. I buckled down, I got real, and I got honest with myself. I got really raw and vulnerable. And it was scary what I found out, but I couldn't go back. I did the research, lots of reflection, and wow, can that ever be hard? And along with my professional expertise and formal education, I managed to piece it all together. Finally, I knew what I needed to do. But then the toughest part, having the courage to do something about it, to take action. And the action I took, those are the 4 steps I'll share with you today. But before we get to the steps, I have a few questions for you. I want you to take a look at this woman, the look on her face, the words that surround her. This is what I see in the modern woman today. So let's just read a few of these together. And I'd like you to take note. Hopefully you have a pen and piece of paper beside you. Take note of how many of these words describe you. There's no sharing of this information. There's no judging. So be honest, truly honest, and know that it's normal for this to feel difficult and hard. So a few of the words that stick out, maybe the large ones here: sick, health or ill health, stress, worry, fear, bills, work, job, all sorts of words there, and maybe more. This right here, something I see every day in the grocery store after work, is what hit me one day, and immediately I knew what my purpose was: to use my education, my work, and my life experience to help these kick-ass yet overwhelmed and overworked mums. These are frazzled mums with kids in tow, racing around the grocery store after a busy day at work, trying to find something somewhat healthy to make for dinner before she then has to race the kids around to their activities, then to race home, do the bedtime routine, then to sit down perhaps with an adult beverage in hand, only to have to start the whole thing over again and again and again. And there's two, the idea that we need to be super mom, and that we admire and compliment other working mums for being super mom. When super mums feel like this inside, on the right. So what people see is that super mom, and that's the external, and the internal tells completely another story. And so how many of you can relate to this? I imagine that there are some heads nodding. And this was me. Whoops. And any of these sound familiar? Feel lost inside, don't know who you are anymore, going through the motions, always busy or stressed. This is something that really stuck out for me, and I knew something had to change when, and I notice this all the time now, is when I ask someone, a friend, or someone I've not seen for a long time, so how are things? How's life? What's new? Oh, it's really busy. Like it's something to be admired or that we strive for, instead of striving for simplicity and less. And we don't feel like we're giving up enough in our relationships, pulled in so many directions. Any of these describe you or sound familiar? Rarely get enough sleep, make poor food choices, afraid to let anyone down. We'll do everything possible to avoid saying no. Squeeze every last drop out of your day. Feel unfulfilled in your work and feel stuck and don't know exactly what to do next. And this, putting on that brave face every day, knowing that you are very fortunate and should be grateful for the life that you have, yet inside, you don't feel that way. A huge Dr. Phil fan here. So in the words of Dr. Phil, how's that working for you? So shall we turn this thing around? That's what I thought you said. I'm happy to tell you that you've come to the right place. No need to read another book or ask for other people's opinions. You can stop hoping these things will magically improve on their own. You can stop stressing about your future because I'm here to share it all with you. I will walk you through it step by step. I do want to mention though at this time that it's not a quick fix. This is not a program, or this is not information for people who are comfortable in most aspects of their lives. It's not for those women who are unwilling to invest in their learning and development or advancement. It's not for those women who lack commitment to taking action, who are indecisive, or who are not quite ready to move forward. Who is this for? It's for those women, those high-achieving women who are ready to make changes in their lives, who have tried reading books, taking courses, but nothing has worked yet. You're ready to prioritize and invest in yourself. It's for women who want to be truly happy in their lives, even if they don't know where to start. It's for you if you're seeking fulfilling work but don't know what that even looks like. It's for you if you want and believe you deserve to feel joy again. If you believe that there's more for yourself than the life you're currently living. If you're ready to be awakened. So my promise to you in this webinar is that the 4 shifts will take you from surviving to thriving, from fearful to fearless, and from chaos to balance. I really want to emphasize that there is nothing for sale today. If you stay till the end, you get it all for free. And what's going to happen after you've made these shifts? You'll have complete clarity on what you want in your life and how to get it. You will be able to kiss guilt and fear and shame goodbye. You'll be able to learn to dream again and be excited about the future. Feel again, no more emotional numbness. You'll feel balanced and more control of your busy life. You'll be able to enjoy your relationships more fully, be more present with your children, have you on the priority list again, and you will feel joy. How does that all sound? The real problem? You just haven't made the important shifts yet. And what I can tell you is that happy, successful, balanced high achievers all did these 4 things. I too have made these shifts, and my life went from merely surviving to thriving, balanced, fun, and joyful. And this means that the 4 shifts can work for you too. I want to emphasize that I truly understand. I've been in your shoes. I struggle just like you. And after many years and lots of money on books and courses, I've figured it out. I put my professional expertise, my education, and life experience in a blender, and voila, I have it, and I don't want to keep it a secret. But I do need to admit, I do have experience in a variety of work environments, in unionized work environments and non-unionized, with startup companies, medium companies, and large companies. I have broad industry experience, having worked in a bunch of sectors: utilities, aviation, pharmaceuticals, and high tech. And I've worked in those industries as an experienced human resources leader, a certified coach, and passionate wellness and diversity expert. I've got more than 15 years experience leading the development and implementation of HR solutions. And from an educational standpoint, I earned a Bachelor of Science degree, along with certificates in coaching, facilitation, and wellness and lifestyle management. Finally, I hold a variety of certificates in individual and team assessments. So why am I telling you all of this? It's to emphasize that I had all the right credentials. I had the right experience and education and the set of tools to figure out my significant life challenges and how to solve them. I was doing it daily in my work, yet in my own personal life, I couldn't see the forest for the trees. I helped others do it so efficiently and successfully, yet I was struggling to do it for myself. My point is here is that even with all of the right tools and education that I had, it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to do it efficiently and effectively. And that's why that journey took me 15 years. And that's why I feel a significant calling to do this as my life's work. So I went from an HR leader and corporate coach to an empowerment expert and coach for women. My greatest gift is helping women see what they cannot see for themselves. I provide connection and support and share practical tools like I am today, helping amazing women to design their way to a balanced, intentional, and joyful life. What does this mean? It means no more treadmill of life or Groundhog Day, although I did enjoy that movie. Who's ready then to discover the 4 shifts? I hear lots of yes, please, me. Shift 1, be clear. So this first step, getting clear, is all about looking inwards. When I got to a low point in my life, I didn't recognize myself anymore. I mean, I loved my kids, of course, and a lot of things in my life, but I didn't know who I was anymore. I'd lost my identity somewhere along the way, and I didn't know how to find it. And so self-reflection really is a humbling process. And it's essential to find out why you think, say, and do certain things, and then better yourself. So what am I talking about here? Getting clear on what? You'll uncover and reconnect during this clarity process about what matters most. What makes you happy? What does success mean to you? And what does it actually look like? What are the big rocks in your life? And how are you spending your time? What are your dreams and your aspirations? And what activities are you engaging in regularly that fuel your soul and engage you? And what, just as importantly, are you doing that depletes you? Everything good will flow from having this clarity. You'll finally understand who you are on the inside, and then have the clarity on the meaningful things that you really want in your life. The result is a direction. The result is your inner GPS, and the clarity to put the GPS coordinates in the right direction. So let's walk through one of these activities together now. One that will help you figure out how to restore balance in your life. Although, to be honest, in this hyper-connected world where work and life no longer really is about balance, I believe now it's actually about finding the right blend. So this is an exercise sheet here on the right-hand side that I use with my clients, and I'd like to share it with you. If you'd like to receive a copy, please feel free to go to my website, louisehreed.com, and you can download it there. So let's walk through it. So the life balance worksheet is essentially a helicopter view of your life so that you can see how to bring things back into balance. It is a one-pager that takes about 15 minutes to do, that in a picture format really sheds light and shares some insight into where you're spending your time, how satisfied you are, and provide some clarity on perhaps what things you could do differently, what needs some attention. So the 8 sections of the wheel on the right, which you might not be able to read all that well, represent different aspects of your life. So we've got career, home, health, relationships, recreation, personal development, community, and finances, financial. If any of those don't really resonate with you, or there's a huge one that's omitted, feel free to scratch one of them out and replace it, or just simply reduce the number of pieces of the pie. So once you've got that ready, look at the center of the wheel, and the center of the wheel as 1 and the outer edges 10, rank your level of satisfaction with each area of your life. It's not about what you want it to be or where it has been in the past. It's about your current level of satisfaction along each of those elements. Then connect the dots. And this new perimeter represents the wheel of your life. If this were a real wheel, how bumpy would the ride be? What areas of your life need more attention? Taking 15 minutes to explore this provides a tremendous amount of clarity. And in combination with understanding what your definition of success is, your values, the output is really significant. So when you get clear on your balance, like I said, or not, what your passions are related to where you spend your time, what success means to you, what your deep core values are, you will have unearthed your inner GPS. All future life decisions either will be in alignment with this or not. When in alignment, you'll feel joy and like life is easy. Have you ever been in a situation like that when life just feels really good and things, the ebbs and flows are just working for you? Even little bumps in the road, it feels like water rolling off a duck's back. Well, when you make decisions out of alignment with your inner compass, you will find the opposite feeling. So how do I use this in my own life when I have this clarity, this inner GPS that I'm referring to? Well, from these exercises, I found my why. And my why is to empower women to take brave, bold action in pursuit of their dreams and goals. So let me give you an example. Recently, when I was asked to be the host of my own weekly global talk radio show, I asked myself the question, does this opportunity take me closer to or further from my big goals and dreams? The answer was closer, and so I said yes. How simple and absolutely empowering. You'll also notice, as it's starting here on this slide, that I'm a lover of quotes. They serve to center me and focus me and are a great source of inspiration and energy. So you will certainly see them littered throughout the rest of this webinar. Now I'd love to share something very special with all of you that someone emailed to me. A very special someone emailed to me. It's long, but it's really powerful. So I encourage you just to close your eyes, take a moment, and just listen while I read. So the slide's entitled, Kaylee Got Clear and Got Results. And this is how her email went. I've always been a goal-oriented and driven person. Growing up, I always imagined myself loving every bit of my job, helping people and not being part of the life-sucking culture of the corporate world. It was to my surprise that at 27, I had done exactly the opposite of what I had dreamed and planned to do. I found myself working in a job completely outside of my depth of knowledge, passion, and goals, clocking in and clocking out, day in and day out, Monday to Friday. Needless to say, I felt stuck. I couldn't help but notice the voice in my head, what the heck am I doing? I made goals, I read personal and professional books. I was a highly motivated person, but I still wasn't making any real movement towards actually achieving my goals. So I decided I needed help. I needed to reach out to someone that could push me and support me in my journey to a life and career that I am proud of. When Louise and I first met, it was sparks at first sight. I felt heard, understood, and like someone had me. I'm lucky to have a very supportive husband, friends, and family, but Louise had my back in a way that I needed for me to get to where I wanted and needed to be. Louise and I had weekly chats. I was quickly not only making goals, but was achieving them. Louise's approach in helping me break down the barriers around me helped me realize that achieving my goals weren't so scary after all, and could happen if only I was brave enough to take that first step. With Louise's support, guidance, and encouragement, I've now broken out of the soul-sucking job I was in, and I'm working towards a career that I feel excited about. Louise has helped me see that my dreams can be my reality. Her fearlessness in life and compassionate coaching has not only inspired me, but has catapulted a whole new direction in my personal and professional life. Pretty powerful. So a big shout out and thank you to my wonderful friend Kaylee for being vulnerable enough to share that transformation. So there we go. We talked about clarity. We talked about the things to get clear on. We talked about how to do one of those and go through one of those exercises. And we talked about the why it's important, and what you use then, what you use that for, that inner GPS. So once you've got that clarity, shift 2 is be confident. So what am I talking about here? I'm a huge Tony Robbins fan. Do we have any other Tony Robbins fans out there? Whoop, whoop. And I've learned and continue to learn a lot from him. One of the things he taught me is that what you think about yourself matters. And so let me ask you a few questions. And I'd like you to answer these to yourself as I read them aloud. What is the single force that controls the quality of your life? The one power you have right now in the moment that can change anything in your life, regardless of what is happening. It's the power of choice. We can't control the events that occur in our lives, but we can choose what to focus on, what things mean, and what to do. So what else have I learned along the way? We all have the power to choose, even when you've not or ever done it before. We can say no more. I won't put up with that. I'm going to think differently, and here's what I'm going to do about it. I've also learned that when you change your decisions, you change your life. And in the wise words of Oprah, you become what you believe. It all starts with a belief. If I didn't believe that I would be able to launch and run a successful coaching business, I never would have taken the action. Was it scary? It sure was. But it started with a belief. and thoughts become things. When you put enough energy towards something, it feeds and fuels that thought. It feeds and fuels the action sometimes that you need, feeds and fuels the courage so that you can take the steps and actions towards your goals. All right, so enough of kind of the high level stuff. What does it mean in more practical terms? Essentially, we're talking about new mindset, new results. So taking it down one level even further, because I really am all about concepts and giving examples. I really want you to be able to walk away with several tools that you can take back and really reflect on and use in your own life to start making steps towards the life that you want, to start making steps towards the changes that you would like to see in your lives. So I have some more questions for you. I bet you didn't think I'd put you to work on this webinar, but here we go. Do any of these sound familiar to you? I encourage you to keep a tally of how many resonate with you, because I'll be asking you in a moment how many. You don't have to answer, but I would like you to answer it to yourself. So how many resonate with you? Self-defeating talk, procrastinating, trying to change too many things at once, doing too many things at one time, so multitasking, not finishing projects you can start, blaming others, comparing yourself to others, and as a result feeling crappy about yourself. Social media is great for that. Lack of ability to forgive yourself, worrying about what others think, fear of failure or fear of making a mistake, and all talk and no action. Those are all common ways, and there are also many more, but those are the common ways that we self-sabotage. Now take a minute and add how many said, describe you. What's your number? 1, 5, 7 or more? Here are some examples of the self-sabotaging things I've heard women say. And to be honest, I'm guilty of some of these myself. This is just a small sample. How is this even going to be possible? What will people think? I can't leave my job. No one will hire me. I'll get to that later. Will people even care about this? I don't even know where to start. So now that we've identified that we all have this inner critic, this self-sabotaging voice, this is an exercise to help you figure out what you do now. So there's the acknowledgement, okay, yeah, it happens. Well, so what? How do I fix this? Or how do I make different choices? So that's what this exercise is. And this is an exercise that, like, play along right now. And I encourage you to take this one after the webinar and reflect on how you can use it in your own life. So let me help you put a stop to this. Step 1, learn to hear your sabotaging voice. Do you know the one that I'm talking about? Did those examples help? We have back and forth conversations with that voice of ours all the time. In fact, my most recent one was, do you really need those shoes, Louise? Well, I've been working really hard. I love them. They're a really good price. Yeah, but the kids need new running shoes and you can't afford it. You don't deserve it, so just put them back. It's a simple and playful example, but we have this running commentary going on in our heads all the time. So step 1 is to learn to hear it. Step 2, once you learn to hear that voice, recognize that you have a choice. You have a choice which one you give power to. You have a choice which one you listen to. I talk to my boys all the time about this. And last night at the dinner table, so here's an example, one of my boys was happily eating his dinner until one of his brothers informed him there was cucumber in the quinoa salad. Well, his response was something else. It's like he'd been told his meal was laced with arsenic. All of a sudden, all the, I can't eat that, I don't like cucumber, I'm going to be sick if I eat that. It was his other voice, the sabotaging voice, that came out now loud and clear. And he was letting that control the situation. So continuing with this example, let's move to step 3. Talk back to it with a growth mindset voice. I told him he had a choice. He could choose to talk back to the negative voice and say to it, turns out I like cucumber, at least when it's disguised in this salad. Or he could choose to give in to it and be hungry. The good news was that he had the power to choose. How liberating. What do you do next? Once you've made the choice which voice you're going to listen to, take action towards the goal that you're determined to achieve. So now this is pretty hard at first, especially if you have never heard that self-sabotaging voice before. So start with step 1 and know that nothing worth doing or achieving comes easy. There are so many women, and Brené Brown, I love her and the research that she does, the videos that she does, and the books that she writes is a beautiful, funny, smart individual who talks so much about the impact of this kind of voice: fear, shame, and guilt. So the researchers tell us that this is not an easy thing to overcome. It's not an easy thing at all. But what I can assure you is that it's worth it. So I'll even take it one step further and show you how you can apply this. So grab whether it's a piece of paper, whether it's a little journal, try this. So on one side of the page, you're going to write down, when you hear that sabotaging voice, you're going to write it down. Anytime throughout the day, just write it down. And then at the end of the day, I want you to, on the other side of the page, write down what the truth is or what the possible other alternatives may be. So using this example, the sabotaging voice said, what if you fail? You'll be a failure. So this is fear speaking. And then on the other side of the page, this is the example that you could speak back to, is most successful people had failures along the way. It's only failure if I stop. So you can see that it's not about making a negative thing positive. And a lot of people believe that that's what this exercise is about. It's not about trying to deceive yourself, not at all. It's about recognizing that every situation can be perceived somewhat differently. And if you would like to make change, which voice do you think needs to get the power and the attention? Is it the sabotaging voice or is it the truth? What if I, before leaving my safe corporate job with great pension and benefits, what if I had listened to the sabotaging voice that said, what if you fail? You'll be a failure. Did I think that? You bet. Did I have that sabotaging voice? Absolutely. But because of where I wanted to go in my life, because of how I wanted to be showing up every day, because I was tired of playing small, because I wanted to feel joy and balance and live a fulfilling life, I chose the truth. I chose to listen to the voice that said, most successful people have failures along the way. It will only be failure if I stop. So now it's your turn. It's hard changing your life. In moments when you doubt yourself, just don't quit. Make that one decision that you've not made yet. And don't let the distractions or self-sabotage distract you from where you're going. So I'd love for you to give that exercise a try. And I'd love to hear from you. Send me an email, louise@louisehreed.com, and let me know what you thought about this. Here we are with another quote. I told you I'm a quotes person, a lover of quotes. She knew the power of her mind and so programmed it for success. I love this one for obvious reasons, or in case it's not so obvious. It reminds me that I have the power of choice, and you do too. So here we are now. We're clear, we've got our internal GPS. We're confident, we know how to talk back to the self-sabotaging voice and kick fear, guilt to the curb. Now shift 3 is about being committed. It's about getting going. I found this online a number of years ago, and I don't know who to give credit to, but I love the simplicity of it. We live in a busy, hyper-connected world, yet one where true, meaningful connections are lacking. we tend to overcomplicate life. And this diagram brings us back to something more simple. So I'll pause for a moment while you read it. Seems so simple and obvious, doesn't it? And sometimes, oftentimes, there is power in simplicity. So I'm just going to go down the right side. Are you happy? No. Do you want to be happy? Yes. Then change something. Do you want to be happy? No. Keep doing whatever you're doing. I'm going to repeat the one that was most profound to me when I read this. And this was a huge mindset shift for me that really put me on the course of doing something differently in my life. And that was, are you happy? No. Do you want to be happy? Yes. Change something. There's a quote, a very famous quote, that if you want something in your life to change, you have to do something that you've never done. And so why is this relevant? It's relevant to this last step of getting committed and getting going, because all thought and no action isn't going to change a thing in your life. So who here likes Oprah? I've already mentioned that I'm a huge fan, and one of the things I love about her is the what I know for sure commentary that she offers in her magazines and her show. Here are some things that I know for sure. What I know for sure is that setting goals is the first step in turning the invisible into the visible. What I know for sure is that discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. What I know for sure is set your goals high and don't stop till you get there. What I know for sure is that successful people maintain a positive focus in life no matter what is going on around them. And here's what the stats tell us. I've got a university degree in biology, so I still always go back to research and stats, but we will make this practical, and I'll give you some tips and steps in just a moment. So 83% of us don't set any goals. Are you part of that 83%? If you are, well, good for you for being here. We'll change that. And if you do, kudos to you. Here's validation for your efforts. Those people who have goals in their heads, which is 14% of the population, are 10 times more successful than those with no goals. So definitely an improvement. Better to have goals in your head than no goals at all. But check this out. People with written goals, merely 3% of the population, are 30 times more successful. I need to repeat that. 30 times more successful than people with no goals. Hell, I don't know about you, but I have big dreams and aspirations. If this isn't motivation to write down your goals, I don't know what is. So let's just pause for a moment and recap. In step 1, you got clear on where you spend your time and what you'd like to change. In step 2, you learned about the power of choice and have strategies for talking back to that self-sabotaging voice, the one that is full of fear, guilt, and shame. So that's the confidence piece. Now in step 3, it's showtime. You're ready to take action. But how do you write your goals in a way that you'll achieve them? 1, come up with one goal. So this is my challenge for you. Come up with one goal, personal or professional. And this is key. One that excites you. Get really, really, really specific. We all know about SMART goals. Specific, measurable, achievable, reachable, or realistic, same sort of thing, and trackable. I'm not going to be talking to you about those SMART goals. You can Google SMART goals, how to write a SMART goal. This is juicy stuff that I don't read very often, and it's something so significant that I got from the coaching courses that I have taken. This is the biggest piece, is about how to create goals and write goals in a meaningful way. If even at this step, you're thinking, I really want some goals. I really want to get places in my life. I really want to move things forward and change the dial, but I don't know what to even choose. Don't worry. Go back to the getting clear exercising, and that getting clear exercises, and I guarantee you that there is a gem of a goal waiting to be found in there. That's where you will find it. Step 2, write your goal down in the positive and the present. So why? The subconscious is hugely powerful. Who here has gone to bed with, a challenge, a work problem, a relationship issue, something that just happened with the kids during the day and you don't really know how you should fix it? You go to bed with that kind of on your mind and you wake up and you know the answer. That's our subconscious at work. Our subconscious is massively powerful and it's very efficient. Its only function is to carry out its instructions. So this is hugely significant in the writing of your goals, in that the more positive instructions you give to your subconscious, the more positive results you will get. One example I'll give here as well is one about one of my boys who plays hockey. He was talking to me after a game one day and saying, "Mom, I'm getting really, really frustrated. Every time I shoot the puck at the net, I'm always hitting the goalie. I'm getting it right on the goalie." I asked him, "So what is it that you're saying to yourself before the game and during the game and while you're in action, ready to take the shot?" And he said to me, "I say, don't hit the goalie." And I said to him in response, "And what are you doing when you're telling yourself that?" He's like, "I'm hitting the goalie." So I said, let's flip it. Let's make your goal positive. Instead of "don't hit the goalie," what are you trying to do instead? And he said, "I'm trying to hit the open net." I said, "Well, start trying that. Tell yourself, aim at the open net." Well, I think you can gather and guess what he started doing. He started hitting the open net. Again, another really simple example showcasing the power of writing a goal in the positive and the present. So what happens now? You've got your juicy goal, you've written it down, you're super, super excited about it. It makes you want to get out of bed in the morning. You break your goals into small, actionable steps and assign realistic timeframes to each. And continue to break them into smaller and smaller steps until the mini goals, seem less daunting. So the steps seem less daunting. There's no right way or wrong way to do this. Everyone needs to break down their goals into different sizes. Everyone's life is different. Everyone's reality is different. Everyone's jobs, their work-life blend, the other responsibilities outside of work, volunteering, church, it's all unique to you. So the only person that these mini steps have to feel right for is you. And then the last step is I want you to celebrate. I want you to think in advance of how you will reward yourself for hitting your benchmarks along the way. I'm a shoe person. I love shoes. And I celebrate through shoes and occasionally with champagne. And so how will you celebrate once you've reached your goal? I worked with someone who, she had a goal of losing weight and she wanted to lose 50 pounds. And so I helped her break her goals into small actionable steps. We went through all that process. We paid a lot of attention to imagining herself at the top of the mountain. And the top of the mountain for her was having achieved her goal weight. She spent a lot of time imagining herself there, who she would be celebrating with, who helped her along the way. We talked about the obstacles that she overcame. And this discussion was so important because we're talking about it as it has already happened in the positive and the present. She talked about, with me, at the top of the mountain again, how it is that she overcame the obstacles that were in front of her. And this is vastly different than imagining yourself at the bottom of the mountain. And the bottom of the mountain would be her at her current weight looking up. What obstacles do you anticipate? Who will help you? That's a daunting task. Imagine standing at the bottom of Mount Everest. That's a daunting task, I imagine. I never plan on doing that. And I imagine none of you likely have that as a goal either, but you can imagine how daunting that would look. Imagine yourself at the top of the mountain instead looking down. You are free, you have achieved it, you have nailed it. That's what I want you to be imagining as you're going through this exercise. That's the kind of goal that you want to be choosing. That's how excited I want you feeling about your goal at the very beginning. You are thirsty and you are hungry to achieve that. If it's someone else's goal and dream for you, I assure you, you will not have success. And this, as I've already alluded to, is my best piece of advice for success when goal setting. You must care about and be passionate about your goal. And finally, the fourth shift, embrace help. Every great achiever is inspired by a great mentor. I love that quote. And to me, it just says, you are not alone. Oprah Winfrey, who I've already mentioned several times through this webinar, didn't get to where she is at alone. She is actually very vocal about the significant work that she has done with Tony Robbins, her life coach. Danny Bonaducci from the Partridge Family, who had quite a sad story after his success on that show. And he attributes a lot of his success out of being a drug addict and his battle with alcoholism. He attributes a lot of his success to a life coach, and in fact was so inspired by the work that he went through, he himself became a life coach. Serena Williams. Obviously, Serena has a tennis coach, but she also has a mindset coach, a coach who helps her with those situations, going back to the example with my son and shooting at the goalie. Don't shoot at the goalie versus shoot at the open net. I can't imagine the kind of pressures that someone at Serena's caliber of sport has to go through. And she is a huge advocate herself, as well of a life coach. Leonardo DiCaprio, he as well as one of those individuals achieved great success and attributes a lot of that to a life coach, Tony Robbins. He's much quieter, however, in how he talks about that relationship. And me. I never would have achieved the success that I have so far in my life, especially in my career, without having enlisted the support and help of a business coach. And so the game changer here, these people did not invest in mentors when they were already making their millions and earning their Olympic gold. They invested when they were living in their parents' garage and training at the local community gym. The nature of coaching and mentoring really creates the space for exceptional shifts and transformations. While the internet is an amazing source of information, we all know that. I'm queen of Dr. Google. It can be overwhelming and difficult to understand what applies to you and how to integrate it into your own life. How do you make sense of it all? A coaching partnership brings all sorts of amazing benefits, like new ideas, confidence and accountability, exact strategy to reach your goals in the shortest amount of time. Heck, if I had started working with someone 15 years ago, it wouldn't have taken me 15 years to get through the life transformation that I finally was able to piece together. It keeps you out of overwhelm, keeps you away from doubt and fear. And coaching is fun. You've got an ally in your life and in business. If you feel stuck, blocked from feeling joy, strapped for time, unhappy or trapped in your job or marriage, and bewildered on how to get happy, it's time to change. Essentially, failure to get the support you need can lead to you never figuring out what shifts you need to make. Or you're left struggling so much that you eventually stop and accept life as it is. Don't let that be you. So we're coming to the close of the webinar here, and I just wanted to put all these little pieces together for you. And I want to start by inviting you with a chance to break through. I've set aside time to talk to you about how you can apply these ideas to your life, and the cost is free. I gave you these 4 shifts, but the truth is that you need to know how to apply these shifts to your specific situation in life and how to make them work for you. So I invite you to book your free call now. I do want to emphasize that spaces are limited. So this is where you can schedule that free appointment. And so when you book the call, what can you expect? You'll receive a complimentary 50-minute coaching discovery call. You'll speak directly with me, and in that time together, you'll walk away with the following: a clear understanding of where you're stuck in your life, what's getting in your way and what you need to do, and 2, how you can work with me. But that's absolutely not a requirement. There are no tricks, no gimmicks. It really is that simple. And so who is this for? And how do you know if you're ready? It's for you if you're ready to up-level your life, your relationships, and or your job. It's for you if you're ready to have a love and passion for life again. I know that was lost for me for far too many years. If you're ready for joy and balance, if you're ready for clarity about what really makes you happy, if you're ready for quality time with the children and other people who matter most, if you're ready for an amazing job that you love most days, if you're ready for freedom and the means to have fun and travel, if you're ready for a healthy body and mind, if you're ready for personal boundaries and to being able to stop saying yes to the things you want to say no to. It's for you if you're ready for action, if you want to see change and you want it fast, and if you're ready for support and accountability to help you get to where you want. I want to see you transform your life in a way that's right for you, so you can experience the true joy that life has to offer. To choose and nurture relationships that are deep, joyful, rich, and wonderful. To contribute to the world through your work in a way that's meaningful to you. But when we're stuck, we don't see and feel the richness as often or as deeply, if at all. My wish for you is that you rise each morning with a sense of excitement about the day ahead, to enjoy the relationships that matter most with those you love, your partner, your kids, your family, and friends. So you now have 3 choices. 1, you can procrastinate and do nothing and continue to live and feel as you do. 2, you can keep going at it alone, continue to flounder and spend years trying to figure it out like I did. Or 3, you can book your free, no commitment discovery call. At this time, I would like to thank you so much for joining me today. I truly appreciate each one of you, and hope you took some tools away that will enable you to make positive change in your life. And I look forward to having a complimentary discovery call with each of you to see